onto the part that goes over the cockpit area. This is pretty much the same for both the biplane and the air race, but there is just one difference. So we'll go through and build the one for the biplane, which will give you all the information that you need to know for the single wing aircraft as well, and I will show you where the differences lie so that you're aware when you're building what you're supposed to be building. Right, let's get this out of the way and get the parts we need to do the build. Firstly, we've got a little bit of cosmetic titivation in the form of the dials, the dashboard. So we're going to get V17, which is also it's structural as well. It provides a little bit of support for the curve, as it were, and also we will need Z11, which has got some nice dials and bits and pieces, switches, etc. on. So literally we just stick one to the other, just like that. There we go. We can pop that to one side just to go off, and then we will grab our Z12. That is the skin that goes over the cockpit area. Okay. Now there's a little bit of scoring that's needed for this particular part, so let me just go and get that and we'll start the scoring process. Here we go. So there's our score guide, and there is Z12, so we can pop that over there and then use our steel rule to pop the score lines in. Now this is the same regardless of whether you have the biplane or the single wing aircraft. So just using the back of the knife. Just got some debris on my straight edge, so you don't want debris on the straight edge. There we go. So as I said, this you do for all of the Banshee aircraft. That's absolutely fine. And then you can just sort of have a look at the dry fit. So that should literally drop down onto there. You can notice I've got a little bit of extra material there from where I cut it off, so I'll just give that a quick sand just to take it down. There we go. Check the other side. A little sand too. So this should neatly wrap around and fit into all of the little nooks and crannies, like so. There we go. Yep, that seems to do the trick. Obviously it needs to be flush with the front there, but before we do that and stick this on, let's get to one side. We need to insert our little cockpit detail like so, but even before that, and this is where the difference lies between the BYPE and the other Banshees, is that with the biplane you get an extra set of plastics, which includes all of the strut work and also some plastics for the upper wing. But you also get this little part here, P24. So let's just cut that out. And that's a bit of reinforcement. There we go. And that actually sits on the inside of this part, reinforcing it and sitting centrally and flush with the front edge of the part itself. Now you'll notice on this part you've got a little notch which shows the center of the part itself, and ditto on your plastic reinforcement part here, part P24. So that sits right there. Now you can actually, if you want, just pre-bend this slightly just to make sure that it'll fit round on the curve, but it is quite flexible, so there's no need to go crazy. And then we will add some glue to the back of it. There we go. I've been quite generous because this is an important reinforcement part. So center that up. Pop that. Go. So I'm just initiating that curve and just making sure that it's all sitting square. So we'll let that dry for now and come back to it, and we can start the installation process when that's dry. So we've given that time to dry. What we can now do is put our dashboard in place as well, and that once again has a notch to show you where the center of the part is. So we'd see just there. It's quite faint, but it's definitely there. just there. So that shows the center part. So when it comes to actually installing into our little cockpit cover here, we can go straight to the center, make sure that it is in the right place. So that's where it needs to sit. So let's just get the glue, and it's just on the curve. You don't have to go down the edges. So just on the curve at the top there. Now carefully place that centrally. Deposit the glue onto the 1mm foam, so, and then I'm going to remove it and wait for that glue to dry, and we'll use its contact adhesive qualities to bring it all together once that has happened. So while that's drying, there's another thing I'd like to do. Now this relates purely to the biplane and not any other aircraft in the Banshee range, that is. There are, as you can see here, I've actually gone through these already, but I needed to show you this, and unfortunately the sound failed when I was recording, so I'm recording again. You've got a couple of slots here and here that are already cut into our plastic reinforcement part, and what I want to do is push the knife through those slots so that they come out on the other side, as you can see there. On both sides, make sure you also push through from this side so you open them up properly. The reason for this is that this is the point where the cabane struts, the fuselage struts, the central struts going to the top wing actually position. So they actually will pop through these slots and use the plastic at the on the other side as an anchor point. So that's why we put this plastic reinforcement here. So that done, now we can place our little cockpit detail into place. Now obviously if you are building the Air Race or any other aircraft other than the biplanes, the hint there, biplanes, then you won't have an edge here on which you can align your little dashboard area, but essentially it's quite easy to get right, and there's no actual fixed position for it. So this is, as you can see, it sits just behind the lip of the cockpit itself, and if you get it a millimeter too far back or far forward, not a problem. Obviously I'm just trying to keep it square, so I don't think I got enough glue on it. But hey ho, there we go. So there we've now got a curved part that we can start installing onto the aircraft itself. So we're going to do this like we've wrapped other stuff around, like the turtle deck here, the deck behind the cockpit. We're going to start at this one side where we're going to make sure it's all nicely stuck down, and then we are going to slowly wrap it over and stick it to the other side, like so. So let's get our glue going. So initially we will put glue onto the edge of the 1mm fuselage just along here. Then we should have some exposed 2mm that we can put some onto, just up to where it finishes, and then we can add glue over the top there. So I'm also going to add the glue. I added it to that one, that would be the wrong side, so it's that side there. So I'm going to add a little bit along there too, like so, and a little bit on the inside where it comes into contact with that 2mm foam, and then once again across the top there. And I'm actually going to carry that down to the other side as well. It's going to be difficult to get the nozzle into that area because this is nicely shaped now. So I'll also continue the glue right across the top there, although we won't use it in the first part of the installation of the deck. There we go. Right, now we're going to give that a good few minutes to dry off before we go for the installation. Just to show you, there's the air race cover that I'm building at the same time. As you can see, there's no reinforcement necessary on this particular part. So the positioning of the dials there, you can see it's just a few millimeters in front of the edge of the cockpit, just there. So that's how that goes together. Right, we should be ready now to start the attachment process. So we should be able to accurately pop that into place, getting it seated properly, and as I said, flush with the front here. We can get our fingers inside there just to make sure that the 1mm marries up like so. Maybe I'll just leave it there for a little while. We'll get my trusty ball. Just to bring these parts together. There we go. Right. Okay, I think what I will do now is just add a little more glue, or add some glue to the other edge. And here, up that 2mm piece, and then along the top edge of the exposed fuselage, like so, and then just add a little bit on the edge there too, and on the inside at the back where it comes into contact with that 2mm. Okay, we'll let that dry again, and then we'll finish off the process and close that down. Okay, let's finish this off. So now what I'm doing is just rotating, making sure that this front edge here matches up with the front edge of the bulkhead there. That's my priority at the moment. And that should come down somewhere close to matching up with the rest of the fuselage. There we go. So that all sits down nice and tightly. And then with the assistance of the ball, it should all come together There's a little excess glue on which the ball's picking up and disposing of quite nicely. And it's just not tacky enough just yet to completely grab, so I'll have to leave it for a few minutes. In fact, I'll probably work the whole thing together while it's drying. It's probably the best option, the best strategy. But if it doesn't come together quite as you'd hoped, of course we are putting a sticker over this seam anyway to hide any imperfections in the build. And this side needs to be held down too. There we go. Excellent. Good, good, good. So I'm just make sure that that is nice and flush with that front end just by sanding it down just slightly. A little bit more needed there. So, as I said, we're going to put some stickers up the side there. Let me just grab my stickers for the Banshee BYPE. So this is the same on both. Obviously there'll be different colours depending on what kit you've got, but you've got S7, S6 and S7. So S6 I believe is port side. So let me just show you that. There you go, S6. It's just one long strip. Now that should start right at the point where top cover we've just put on starts. And then you should be able to take that back to the back part of the part that we've just put on, and then stretch it out. It should finish just above the tail, like so. There we go, that's one side done. And then S7 for the other side, starboard side. As I said, so you start it right at the beginning of that deck part, take it to the back of that deck part, stick down, and then because it goes at a slight angle upwards, that's why we take it from there to line up some of the graphics as well. go, just finishing it off by pressing it home. There we go. Using everything at our disposal. Go. So now that seam is extra secure with the stickers as well. Well, there we go. That concludes that part of the build. So the next part that we'll move on to is creating the forward hatch.